8 Democratic senators are caving on the shutdown, admitting defeat, and this is a very, very poorly thought out thing. Now, let's talk about what happened. A group of 3 former governors, that's New Hampshire's Senator Jeanne Shaheen, New Hampshire Senator Maggie Hassan, Independent Senator Angus King of Maine, combined with 5 others, Tim Kaine, Dick Durbin, John Fetterman, Catherine Cortez Masto, and Jackie Rosen, have said we are going to vote to end the shutdown and reopen the government. Now, many of you might be asking a reasonable question. In exchange for what? What have Democrats negotiated? What are Democrats getting after holding out as long as they have and seeing all of the damage that the shutdown has done? Not blaming Democrats for the shutdown, but certainly Democrats in a position to have averted it. They said they wanted the Obamacare subsidies. That's not happening. So what did they hold out for? Reportedly, there will be a vote in the middle of December on extending the Obamacare subsidies. There will be a vote that in all likelihood is not going to work. What are different senators saying about this? Well, here is Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer saying that this fight will continue and Democrats must fight. But wasn't this the fight? Does this make any sense to anybody?
But let me be clear. However this vote turns out, this fight will and must continue. Democrats must fight because of millions of families will lose health care coverage. We must fight because children who are dying of cancer will not get health care coverage. We must fight because a senior citizen cannot afford to pay $25,000 a year just for health insurance. We must fight to keep millions from financial ruin.
You know, this whole language about fighting, the shutdown was the fight. In other words, the reason I thought that Democrats said they are going to do this is that they wanted to fight for the Obamacare subsidies, and they are giving up that fight. Now, I know you might say, well, but they're going to get a vote on the subsidies in mid-December. Come on, guys. Do you really, if my audience wants me to come here and say, Democrats got a victory because instead of nothing, there is now going to be a vote. And although the vote will likely fail, it's at least something rather than nothing. Well, as I said from the beginning, the shutdown hurts people. And so was a political point made? I mean, listen, I'm with most of my audience that and the country that Republicans are to blame for this. There's no question Republicans are to blame for the fact that a shutdown took place because they're, again, playing the political games that they always play. But again, you needed 60 votes and Democrats are a part of that. I would be open to the idea of the shutdown leading to something positive if it actually did. But I can't come here and in a serious manner tell you we got something good because there will be a vote in mid-December. It's just not enough, guys. And you might say, as Angus King did, well, it's all we could get. But what changed? Why did they think that they could get more? They're not going to, these Republicans aren't going to really negotiate over health care subsidies. Here's Angus King this morning, independent senator from Maine, saying it didn't work. We tried standing up to Trump and it didn't work.
Well, Joe, you have to go back to what the strategy was at the beginning of the shutdown. There were 2 goals, both of which I support. One was standing up to Donald Trump. The other was getting some resolution on the ACA premium tax credit issue. The problem was the shutdown wasn't accomplishing either goals, and there was there was zero likelihood that it was going to. In terms of standing up to Donald Trump, the shutdown actually gave him more power, Exhibit A being what he's done with SNAP and SNAP benefits across the country. Oh, by the way, Joe, you're going to love this. Guess who's getting paid during the shutdown? Not the park rangers or air traffic controllers, the ICE agents. Under special law, under that big, awful bill that they passed last summer, the ICE agents are being paid. Nobody else is. So standing up to Donald Trump didn't work.
There are sort of 2 responses to this. Well, the it didn't work because 8 of you caved. That's one response. But I actually think that that's incomplete. It was never going to work. As I said from the beginning, while it is clear that this is the same political game that Republicans have played in the past with the shutdown when Trump's in power, what did they think was going to change with regard to getting these people to negotiate? It of course it didn't work, and we didn't expect that it would work. Jeanne Shaheen went on Fox and Friends this morning, and this is just so weak. She says, "I believe some Republicans will join us in trying to address health care costs. We're going to have a vote. We're going to have a vote."
Can you give us an idea and our viewers an idea what happened behind the scenes to have you, Senator Kaine, Angus King, Catherine Cortez Masto, Jackie Rosen, and John Fetterman, as well as Maggie Hassan and Dick Durbin all come together to get to the 60 threshold? Can you bring us behind the scenes for that?
Well, there had been discussions going on really since the shutdown about how could we work together to end this? How could we make sure that we can address health care costs for the millions of Americans who are seeing their health care costs rise as the result of the bill that was passed in the summer that the president wanted. And so I think this agreement gives us an opportunity to continue to do that work. We're going to have a vote, and I believe there are a number of Republicans who are going to join us in trying to address health care costs for Americans. But
we are going to have a vote, and I believe there are a number of Republicans who are going to join us in trying to address healthcare costs. This is just so weak, guys. This is just so weak. Here is Senator Cortez Masto saying, we are really going to fight for Americans soon, very, very soon.
This fight tonight is, I agree with Senator Angus, is just the beginning. This is the beginning to show and fight for Americans across the country. Let me just say this. With the government open, we can focus on passing a full bipartisan budget for 2026 that starts with a minibus that will restore funding that President Trump cut. It delivers millions of dollars in critical funding to states like Nevada, all across the country.
I'm really struggling with this stuff. This is just nothing. It's nothing. I go back to, did this even make sense in the first place? And, you know, I was on I was on like a creator Zoom with Cory Booker before the shutdown even started. And I said, I don't know that this stuff ever really makes sense. And he goes, no, we don't want a shutdown. This is very low energy stuff. Jeanne Shaheen was asked by a reporter, if they block the Obamacare subsidies with the vote in December, this hypothetical vote that's going to happen, will you then vote to shut down the government again in January? And Jeanne Shaheen goes, oh, that's an option.
If the president doesn't agree and Republicans block the extension of AC subsidies, would you guys be willing to vote again against government funding in January when this funding runs out?
that's certainly an option that I think everybody will consider. Thank you.
We might just do it all over again to get nothing. They are not going to negotiate with Democrats. They could have negotiated before, and I find this is all completely absurd. And here is Trump himself saying, we will never, ever, ever give any money to prisoners and illegals. And of course, while that's not what Democrats wanted to do, Trump is making it clear, Democrats, this was last night, Democrats are understanding, we're not going to negotiate. We're not going to negotiate. They might as well allow the shutdown to end.
We'll never agree to give any substantial money or any money to really prisoners, illegals that come into our country. And I think the Democrats understand that. And it looks like we're getting close to the shutdown ending. You'll know very soon. Thank you very much.
So a source of mine in the Senate said this is going to take a little bit of time. There needs to be, so we've got the original vote that needs 50, final passage of the motion to proceed to the original Republican continuing resolution. Then you need an amendment vote on replacing the old Republican CR with a new deal. You need a cloture vote on the deal, which needs 60 votes. You need final passage of the deal, which is 50 votes. That's a bunch of stuff. If they go by the book, it could be days. They could cut the process down and accelerate it. I don't believe this is going to help Democrats, by a small margin, 55-45, the country believed that the shutdown was Republicans' fault. I believe that that's accurate. I think that the numbers are going to significantly worsen for Democrats now. And meanwhile, what about the damn food stamp benefits? So we're still doing what we can in November to help with food insecurity and feed hungry people. As I've been telling you, every new membership on my website and Substack this month, the first payment is donated to Feeding America. Feeding America is one of the most efficient hunger organizations in the country. So far, you have helped us raise over $11,000 with 263 new memberships, funding over 113,000 meals for hungry people. I invite you, keep helping us help people. Sign up at joinpakman.com or substack.davidpakman.com. Let's go for 15,000 raised, and we are going to continue pushing on that. Nausea is one of those things that can derail your day. Could be on a plane, could be in a car. For me, it was on a boat not that long ago. Could even be from anxiety or migraines. Our sponsor, Relief Band, makes a wearable, FDA-cleared wristband designed to help relieve and prevent nausea. With no drugs or drowsiness, it uses transdermal neuromodulation or acustimulation. It's a gentle pulse to the part of the nervous system involved in regulating nausea. There's really good published research indicating Relief Band can help with motion sickness, pregnancy-related nausea, chemo-related nausea. Some studies suggest it can reduce post-surgery nausea when used with prescribed medication. And Relief Band's new Premier Plus model adds a digital clock and smart skin sensing to preserve battery life, and it lets you adjust intensity based on how you feel. If nausea is something you deal with, it could be worth seeing if Relief Band can help. It is drug-free, non-drowsy, no side effects. Go to reliefband.com and use the code Pakman for 20% off plus free shipping. The link is in the description.